On this adventure, I'm attempting to cycle nearly 3,000 kilometers from England to Bosnia, crossing 6 countries along the way. After around 920 kilometers across France, dealing with dehydration, illness, and a few days off the bike, just trying to recover, followed by another 530 kilometers across Germany, climbing over the Black Forest, battling cold mornings and tired legs, I finally made it to the Austrian border. Germany had been challenging but rewarding. France before that had been fun, tiring and at times pretty lonely, but together they had brought me to this point. Austria would be my third country on this journey. I would have around 346 kilometers or about 215 miles to cross as I started making my way around the Alps, trying to avoid as much snow as possible this time of year. With around 1,500 kilometers now behind me, I was now about halfway to Bosnia. Still a long way to go, but the mountains ahead were a clear reminder that the hardest part of this adventure might still be to come.
Well, it's time for one more country. This time we're going across Austria to Slovenia. Starting off, absolutely beautiful, blue skies. However, the forecast for the next couple of days is a little patchy.
With my cycling adventure from England to Bosnia, it meant at some point I would have to deal with the Alps. Austria would be that place. When I set out on this cycling adventure, I was obviously wanting to avoid as much snow as possible. Being mid-March though, Austria was the one place I knew if I was going to have to deal with any, it would probably be here. Austria was the one place on this journey where I didn't quite know what was waiting for me, but it was certainly starting as perfect as I could have hoped.
So beautiful out here today. I really need to make the most of this beautiful weather because I think tomorrow is going to be a bit cloudy and possibly rainy. It says 65% chance of rain, so hopefully I'll miss it, and so I'm heading away from it, from where it's coming from, England surprisingly. But to get through Austria, because it's still quite early season, I can't go too remote over all the mountains. There's still going to be snow and everything. It would just be too hard to ride. But so I'll be going through them or around them, and I think the highest point is only around 2,500 feet. So we're not going too high. So hopefully that'll be good enough not to encounter snow and ice. But look at it out here, it's absolutely stunning. Today I do want to try and get up and over a couple of the climbs. This route's kind of a story of two halves, I guess, because first sort of 150 kilometers or something, 160k is pretty much up and down, but the last part of it is just pretty much downhill, or in a downhill direction at least. And while I'm super looking forward to enjoying some of the Austrian views, I tell you what I am looking forward to is getting to Slovenia and having a little rest. I'm sort of planning to, when I get to the border of Slovenia, see if I can find somewhere just to stay for a couple of nights, get a shower, charge everything up, take a little rest and just enjoy a bit of downtime. But gotta get through Austria to award myself a little rest. Right, let's go up, enjoy these beautiful views and blue skies. get the power down.
My journey across Austria was starting out as good as I could have hoped for, and after a little bit of climbing up and over the first climb from Salzburg, I had a steady descent, and while I hadn't even made it to anywhere remote yet, everything was incredibly beautiful. I needed to try and make it over the high point today, while the weather was on my side, but Austria wasn't making that easy, not because the terrain was challenging or anything like that. It was just that I couldn't stop stopping to enjoy the views everywhere. Everywhere I looked, mountains, lakes, pretty little towns. I was in my element.
That right there has got to be some of the most inviting water I've ever set my eyes on. Oh, I'd love to go for a swim in that. I bet it's bloody cold, but it looks so good, it's so clear. Well, I've done 40k today. It's just absolutely beautiful around. Everywhere you look, it's just views, mountains, just absolutely stunning. I do have a little bit more downhill to go. I'm kind of up and over the first little lump. The next lump from a place called Bad Ischl, and then to a place called Bad Aussie. I mean, why are they all bad? That's the one that is probably the hardest one. I go from something like 1,700 feet to just under 3,000. It's the one pass that I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be like. I'm hoping it should be passable, but I've got to try and get over there. It's off-road, so we'll see. But I would like to get up and over that highest point today while the weather is glorious. Instead of having to potentially do it in the rain tomorrow. I want to make use of this beautiful weather. All right, cruise around here for a bit longer, a little bit more downhill, and then we start climbing.
It had been a long journey up until this point, and now the point of the unknown for me. So before I head into the unknown, a bakery stop was needed along the river just before I reached Bad Ischl. I'm still not sure what was so bad about it. It was lovely. From here though was when I would need to start my climb up to the highest point on my crossing of Austria and to the unknown. And while it was looking promising, the higher I climbed, snow did start appearing. But so far the road up here was clear, and there was even a couple of cyclists coming back down. Was that a sign it was or wasn't passable? The weather had been fairly decent along my journey so far, so I was hopeful that most of the snow would have melted by now, and it would be a smooth pass.
Well, it looks like the last little bit is probably going to be a bit of a hiker bike. probably got like 400 feet maybe left to climb. I mean, I think to be honest, once I get around there where the sun is, it'll probably be melted because it's already melting here. So I'm gonna keep going. Feel like I'm gonna be able to get past. I don't feel like there's any real issue here. I've seen a few tire marks as well, so that's always a good sign. To be honest, I'm not too bothered about hike bike anyway, because it was just getting too steep anyway, so I was going to be hiking anyway. So now just hiking through the snow a little bit too. Also, oh yes, on my sunburned ears. I've been saying for the last few days that I'm going to pick up some sun cream. But I know the day I pick up sun cream, the weather's going to turn to absolute crap. So I just stick with the snow on my ear. Oh, I feel so good. Maybe a bit down the back. Oh yeah. Nice.
So while it wasn't completely clear of snow, it really wasn't so bad. And it was looking like I would be able to make this crossing, which was a relief. The alternative would have been a long detour around. So while I would have to hike through the leftover snow for the next 30 minutes or so, I didn't really care, because apart from the sound of the crunch of the snow, it was so quiet and so beautiful out here.
Well, I don't think that could have gone much better. When I was planning this route, I was kind of in my mind planning to do this whole trip a lot later in the season, and I was thinking I'm just going to go across France and then into Italy across the Alps that way. But then when it was getting closer to when I was actually going to go, I was like, wait a minute, this is way too early in season to go over like that. There's going to be a lot of like passes that are just closed, or I'm going to have to go along busy roads and stuff. So that's why I've come all the way through France, Germany, and now Austria. But at a certain point, you kind of gotta make a pass through the mountains. Oh well, you don't. You could keep going, stay that side all the way. But anyway, I got across, happy with that. And that should really be that was the only bit I was a little bit concerned, just in case. You never know, around this time, it's mid-March. I don't know what the date is now. I think it's like the 12th or the 13th of March or something. You never really know how much snow is going to be, but luckily it was passable. It wasn't too bad. Couldn't have timed it any better. Fingers crossed that I was going to be able to do that, and it was going to be like this. It's now 4 p.m. though, and I've done about 83k. Don't really plan to do too much more, but I am sort of heading down towards some sort of built-uppy places, so I have to keep following it and start looking for somewhere to camp. It gets dark at like just after 6 here, but it does get light at 6:30, so swings and roundabouts. That was a really, really good first day in Austria. Really enjoyed that. Whatever happens now, at least I got one solid, beautiful, good day here. Right, onwards, downwards for a little bit longer, and let's hopefully find somewhere to camp, somewhere nice, somewhere quiet, before it gets dark. Gotta follow the river. And it's quite nice, it's like a single track, lovely, let's go. Keep going.
Now that I had made it over what was possibly the hardest challenge for Austria, which turned out to be quite easy in the end, it meant I could just settle into the evening, knowing my work was done for today. I just needed to find somewhere to set up my tent for the first night in Austria. As my evening was following the railway, it meant for a chilled, beautiful flat pedal between the mountains. Rightio. That was a really good day, but I nearly spoiled it doing something very stupid. I just sat down on a bench for a moment and I just put my phone down there, cycled off, started looking around this woods for something, and then just went, oh shit. So I ran back, got on my bike, pedaled as fast as I could. Luckily, it was still on that bench. I was probably gone for a good 20-30 minutes, so so lucky, because I would have really ruined what was otherwise an absolutely beautiful day. It really was a fun day. Like, it's just so beautiful. Everywhere you look is beautiful. Trying to find somewhere to camp tonight hasn't been the easiest, but I think I've found a cool little spot. So I'm in the woods, beautifully, snow still around everywhere. But this patch here looks good. It's clearly quite a cold part of the woods though, so it's going to be a cold night. I don't think it gets much sun. And if I take you down here, there's a little stream, a little river. Well, was a little river, but it's completely frozen solid. I'm not going to walk on it because it's just like snow, but wait, I'll show you where I crossed. It's quite cool. You can see where the water is still running, and it very conveniently made me a little path. But look, this is frozen solid. There's just a gentle little bit going down here. Thought that was cool. Alright, let's get this tent set up and hopefully have a good night's sleep. Gets light at about 6:30. On this trip I haven't used an alarm clock once. The birds have woken me up very conveniently just as the sun is rising, with no questions asked, just boom, there. I'm like, oh, it's time to get up now. I said, you know, we've done the thing I was most sort of not sure about, but we still actually have quite a bit of climbing to do. We're still in the mountains, still got to get over. Still got to go to about 2,700 feet tomorrow, but I don't really foresee any issues with them ones because they kind of follow the road anyway, so it's not like its own little path. Right, hopefully this is a good little camp spot. Probably a little lumpy, but it will do. It will do nicely. And this, look how nice this is. See you in the morning. Birds have spoken. It's time to wake up and get on our way again for our second day across Austria. I think it's mostly just because of where I camped in this woods, like right in like the darkest corner. It is very cold this morning, although I don't believe it's below freezing. I believe it was meant to be about 2 degrees at its lowest, so not too bad. But last night where I was so quiet, was so dark. At one point I woke up to go have a wee. I opened my eyes and I wasn't sure I'd actually opened my eyes because it was just that dark. And when I went out, I looked up
and it was still very clear, and there were so many stars. It was so nice. I love it. So good. Today my goal is quite simple, really. Just to try and get through all the mountainousy parts of Austria and get onto that bit where I start kind of descending down out of all the mountains towards Slovenia. It's only another, I have to talk in miles because I don't know what it is in kilometers, but I think it's probably another 65 miles of hilly terrain, shall we say. But then after that, it's all nice and sort of flat and sort of downhill direction. It's not going to rain, it's just looking a bit cloudy, but not even that cloudy really compared to England. But let's try and get warmed up on the bike and out of here without falling on my ass. Crunch.
While I made my way out of the cold woods, trying not to fall over, the sun was just rising, yet it was a cold morning, about -1 according to my Garmin. That meant though, it was an incredibly still morning, no wind, just quietness. As I continued between the mountains, from time to time I would have to get off and push, as some sections of these forest tracks were just sheet ice. But there is just something about cycling in between mountains that just makes you live in the moment. One of them mountains is named Grimmin Mountain, and located at the foot of this mountain sits Trottenfels Castle, built originally all the way back in the 1200s. It was originally built to guard an important trade route through the valley, where goods like salt, often called white gold because of how valuable it was, were moved through the Alps. The castle was restored between 1988 and 1992 and now serves as a regional museum with exhibitions about the history, nature and culture of this alpine area.
Oh, right, just had a nice stop. It's about midday already. Started to warm up now. This morning was beautiful, but bloody cold. And while it has warmed up quite a bit now, I'm going into a bit of a headwind, which, you know, it's got that mountainous chill to it. So it's not great. And for the next 30k, I'm going to be gradually climbing up until the point where I can start descending, which should be nice. I don't think the climb's particularly anything crazy because I'm kind of going through the middle of the mountains now, through the valley in the shadow of death. So 30 kilometers and then get to start gradually descending. Hopefully by the end of today, definitely by tomorrow, I should be within touching reach of Slovenia, and I'll be below 2,000 feet of elevation. I haven't been below that, I think, maybe like once in Germany. I'm just really looking forward to that lovely downhill direction. And ideally, not a headwind. Let's go. Up and down, up and down. This climb, this has been one long ass slog. Just this headwind, it's absolutely grindy. I can't complain too much though really, because honestly it's like the first proper headwind I've had on this trip since leaving England, so hopefully we can go back to that type of riding again with some nice tailwinds. I am nearly on top of the hill now. Not quite at the top yet. Got a few of these little bumps to go before we actually get to the nice descending-y part. Not that I think the descent will be much to live up for, because the wind is just going to be pushing me back. I've done 80k so far. I would quite like to do 130, maybe 140 today, but I mean, we'll see. I want to get potentially to Slovenia tomorrow, or at least very close tomorrow. God, I hate this hill. Actually, I don't mind the hill, it's the wind I hate.
It was definitely a mind over matter day today. The wind was constantly on my face, and that is mentally draining. As beautiful as looking at them mountains either side of me was, today they were acting like a funnel for that wind. When I did eventually make it to the top, while the wind was still in my face, at least now I knew that everything was downhill all the way to the Slovenian border. Knowing this was refreshing for the mind and the legs. It also meant one more thing. I was now leaving the mountains behind and trying to find somewhere to sleep tonight. That wasn't going to be so easy.
I have a feeling tonight might be quite hard to find somewhere. Obviously got loads of trees and stuff, but they're obviously on a massive slope. Loads of midge as well. It's really annoying. And over there is just people. Lots of people, cars and traffic. Half tempted to climb up this, but I don't know. Nice view though, look. It's a little canal there. I don't know where I'm gonna go. Because basically, either side of this is mountains. Just keep riding until I find somewhere, I guess. I have no idea if this is gonna lead to a camp spot, but hopefully. If not, there is a bench just there, which, I mean, isn't ideal, but if needs must. I am not one to pass up on sleeping on a bench. But we'll see if we can get to some flat ground up here. I mean, could just sleep there. It's not ideal, but there really isn't anywhere. And if I keep going along, I'm pretty much just going through more and more busier places now, because I'm heading towards a major city, I guess, Graz, I think, something like that. There is a bench on top here, which I think I might just sleep on. I've checked the weather forecast. That's the only thing with sleeping here, is that I'm in an unpredictable place when it comes to weather. From what I can tell on the map, on the weather map, it's not going to rain, which is the main thing. It is going to get down to like 3 degrees, but not too bothered about that. So I'm thinking of sleeping on that bench there. So I did find a Lidl, so I managed to stock up. So I got a bit of dinner on my bench. Today we have some bakery. We got some Lidl pizza that's nice and crushed, and I don't know what this is. It's like a croissant, but I think there's something inside, but maybe there's not, and I don't know what it is. There is something in it, not sure what. So I'll see bright and early in the morning. I'm going to figure out now if I'm possibly going to be able to make it to Slovenia tomorrow, or if I'm just going to get very close and then the next day. We'll see. Hopefully I can stay dry. If it does rain tonight, you'll see me under that bridge in the morning like a troll. Oh, good morning, good morning. As you can see, I moved down to this bench here, which was a good decision because it was nice and sheltered from any wind. It was nice and quiet, well, apart from that road over there. But it was quite a comfortable bench, actually. It was just about long enough as well for me, which is good. Oh, waking up to that blue sky, a little bit of snow on them little mountains over there. I have looked at the map today, and I still haven't decided if I'm gonna quite make it or just get very close. It's about 130k, I think, until I get to the border of Slovenia. So it's definitely possible, and it is pretty much downhill. I'm following a river for most of the day downstream, so it should be pretty easy. I haven't booked anywhere yet because I was waiting on a reply to see if they've got anywhere safe to leave a bike at the moment, so I haven't booked anything yet. So we'll see. I'm just like, can't be bothered to move because it's just I'm nice and warm, and it is a little bit chilly out here today. I think it's about 3 degrees this morning, maybe 4. In the woods it feels a bit warmer. Out there it looks like it's going to be a bit colder. But on other news, I've got my lunch sorted for today. It's a massive 600 gram something monstrudel. Looks pretty good. I'm going to try and attach that to my bike in a minute, and that is what I'm going to be living on today. Slowly pack. The thing is, I've got to take this down jacket off. Then I've got to take my other jacket off to put my bib straps up. That's the worst part. Day 3 of cycling to Slovenia across Austria. Let's go. I think it's going to fit here nicely. Look at that.
It's like it's made to be carried by bike. Perfect. Aerodynamic as well.
Precious cargo now safely secured, it was time to make my way out into the cold valley for another day in Austria. Somehow I had managed to outrun the bad weather in another country. It was cold, sure, but I was still staying dry, and that was the main thing. Another sunny morning. The only problem was, it wasn't on me, as the sun was mostly hiding behind them mountains.
Oh yes, please. Into the sun. Please. Let me have some sunshine this morning. It's so cold. Ah, sun. Sun, sun, sun. Do, 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 do. Sun, sun, sun. Which way do I go?
That's much better. In the sun. It's been a cold old morning. Just been coming through the mountains either side of me. The sun hasn't been able to get to me. So just feeling that warmth is glorious. And because I'm pretty much still going in that nice downhill direction, I've done 33k. And it's 10 to 9, so making very good progress. I've got probably another 30k until I get to that Graz place, but again, like, it's going to be it should hopefully, fingers crossed, be a very smooth sailing day, because it is just all in a downhill direction from here. I'm leaving high ground for low ground, and it's sunny, which is beautiful. And it's funny because the weather forecast said it was cloudy today. Anyone see any clouds in the sky? I don't. Gonna keep going. Probably stop when I get to that grass place and then sit by the river, chill out for a bit, figure out if I'm gonna push on to the border today or tomorrow. I think I'll probably wait until tomorrow, you know, so I can get check-in as early as possible, make the most of some downtime.
While I enjoyed my nice downhill easy morning where nothing could possibly go wrong, or so I thought, the trail I was meant to be following all the way to Graz turned out to be shut. While figuring out a new way around, a local cyclist come to my rescue and towed me all the way until I could get back on track, upping my average speed by quite a bit and building up my appetite for that precious cargo as I arrived in Graz.
Candle lit dinner for just me and you. Right, so a bit of a change of plan. I've ended up getting a place in Graz because I was looking near the border of Slovenia, which isn't very far. It's like, I want to say, well, it's 40 miles, so should we call it 60 kilometers, 70 kilometers, something like that. Like, not that far at all, really. So, but all the places I asked can I take a bike? Nobody replied. So while I was in Graz, which is obviously a bigger city, there's a lot more options. So managed to get a place here. Didn't actually ask them to bring in a bike, but it was a whole apartment, and it was a lot cheaper than actually going all the way to Slovenia. So we are here for actually 3 nights. So it's Sunday right now, and I won't be getting back on the road until Wednesday. So I can have a bit of chill time, bit of downtime, might go and have a little roam around the city and just get everything charged. Just had a shower, just doing all the chores, getting everything washed, doing the good old shower washing of socks and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's quite nice to get to chill, get everything charged. And on Wednesday, we'll get to the next border of Slovenia, which isn't too far. Let me give you a little tour of Keep Smiling Adventures cribs on the road. So the most important thing, obviously, we all know is where do you put the bike? Well, luckily enough, this place has a kitchen. Perfect for the bike. Not quite so perfect for a 6'6" person. Toilet, shower, already started washing socks, airing out the sleeping bag, getting it all nice and airy. Free Wi-Fi if you want it. And where the magic happens, where I will be sleeping. Right, as always then, I'll see you in a few days.
While I had a bit of time off the bike, I was able to go and explore around the city a little bit, finding places like this tunnel, which is pretty impressive as far as tunnels go, I'd say. What is more impressive is if you go through this tunnel and keep heading uphill to get this magnificent view of the city below. And I think them hills in the distance are Slovenia. So close now. I managed to time my stay here in Graz perfectly, as 2 days here were a bit rainy, so I maintained that dry streak for a little longer at least. Managed to get everything clean, eat some food, and get ready for the remaining 800-ish kilometers that I had left to go until I reached my destination of Bosnia.
What did I say? Buy sun cream, weather gets bad. Well, it's the final little stretch now. Time to go to Slovenia. There's only about 60k and until we get to the border. It's pretty flat as we're following the river. Been a nice couple of days chilling in Graz. Got a bit more recovery done. Ate some food. Got some sun cream, which was really hard to find at this time of year. However, I am starting off this morning. It's a little bit grey and miserable. It's been a couple of days of sort of rain, and then yesterday was nice and sunny. And then today again is very grey. It isn't meant to rain too much though, and I think as I'm sort of heading towards Slovenia, it's kind of not raining over there, or it probably is at the moment. But by the time I get there, it shouldn't be. So at least we'll be able to start dry, clean, and go have some fun.
Well rested, clean, and now fed. This was going to be my final day in Austria, easily my favourite place to cycle across on this adventure so far, and it was so nice to be getting back on the bike, leaving the city and finding myself back in the countryside. I think I prefer the familiarity of cycling each day than a comfy bed, so being back in my natural environment, pedaling my bike, was very welcome. And today, all I really had to do was follow this river downstream, and I would be making it to my 4th country on this cycling adventure to Bosnia. And as I pedaled closer to that border, with the sun starting to show its face, there was no time to stop today. I was very much in the zone to get through these remaining kilometers, and with Austria throwing one last little kicker at the end, which felt like the hardest climb so far, there it was, my 4th country, Slovenia.
We'll look to the mountains. We don't care if it's only a dream. Nothing is really what